Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to work on an altered book and I'm going to start with the cover. And this is just a vintage cooking cookbook that I got from the thrift store. Obviously, of course, everything I get is from the thrift store. Um, this one was from 1975 and creative cooking in 30 minutes, and it's a nice shape, very nice shape. So the spine's still intact. Cover is really nice, just a plain cover. It's a nice sized book. It's only 8.5 tall by about 5 3/4, close to 5 3/4, not quite, in width. And if you want to do an altered book, you need to find one that has the signature stitched and not glued to the spine. So in order to determine if that's stitched or not, you're going to see this gap here between the spine and the signatures. So there's this gap here, and you can see that there's sets of folded papers sewn together, and eventually I'll be pulling some paper out and doing some artwork in here. And this is inspired, this is not my idea, this is inspired by a mixed media artist I have been following for quite some time. She's great. Her name is Lori Marie Jenkins. Lorimarie. So that's all one word, Lori Marie Jenkins, Jenkis. And if you have not seen her YouTube channel, please go visit her channel because she is awesome. She does these altered books. They're interactive. They're so cool, and she shows you so many different techniques with backgrounds and collage. And she has done a foiled or faux metal look cover before, and so that's what I'm going to do today. So I'm just going to flatten my book out. And what she did was she used some texture paste and stenciled with texture paste, and she put washers and she did all kinds of things that had texture and put them on the cover. And what you will need for that is this foil tape that you get from, well, Home Depot. I had my husband find this for me. This was 50 yards of tape for $7, so this will last me for a long time. This is Nashua brand foil tape. So I guess you would find this in the duct work area. I don't know. My husband found it, so I'm not sure where he found this in the Home Depot, but I think that's a pretty good deal for as much tape as you get. And the next thing that you will need is some black acrylic paint. And what I'm going to do is actually, and I've tested this out already, I'm going to use some flowers or wheat. Well, these are really weeds. Anything that has some raised, that is going to give you some texture and some raised areas. So I'm going to lay out, and I found these in my backyard. I don't know what these are. Just be careful if you go in your yard and find this stuff, because I mean I'm highly allergic to poison ivy, so I'm really careful, where I'm walking and looking for things. And also we have quite a few bugs and chiggers that I end up, if I go picking wildflowers, I will get them, and it's not a fun experience. So I am going to kind of lay out how I want these, and you can glue this on or not. I'm going to spread it out. I don't know if I need to glue these down to keep them in place, or if I'm just going to just let the tape kind of, I'll see how it lays. I've got this, I don't know, these are some leaves from some shrub, wild shrub. I have no idea what this is called, and I'm going to flip it over on the back side because there's more raised areas and more veins, like higher veins for texture on the back side of the leaf than there is on the front side. So I'm going to flip the leaf over and just kind of arrange my stuff here. This one, I just want something that's going to give it some nice texture and show very well, which I thought these things, because they're very seedy and they're thick but not too thick. You don't want something too thick because it'll cause your tape to wrinkle. I've tried, you know, those little helicopters that oh, if I could find my example, because I tested this out on a piece of watercolor paper, and of course I can't find my example. Here it is. Okay. So this was just a practice piece of watercolor paper, and here's that little helicopter that I have in my yard, and it's got that big seed at the end, and I don't like how that turned out because that seed was like too thick. But I do like that. You can see the texture in the seed here. Here is one of those leaves from the shrub. That one I played around with I think it's a daisy. It was from a floral arrangement I got for Mother's Day. So I was going to flatten the whole flower out, but the center was too thick. So I just pulled the petals off and piled them on and covered the petals. And there's another one of those leaves. So you want something fairly flat. And I'm not sure if I like that because that's not spreading out enough for me. So let me get another one that's more spread out, like this one. And I think I'm going to have to just maybe put a little dab of glue on these just to keep them in place where I want them. I think I'm just going to do the front cover for now. I don't know if I want the metal look on the back cover yet. So I'm just going to go ahead and arrange these how I want them, and I'm going to take a little dab of this glue just in little spots, making sure that I don't get it on the cover itself because I don't want the glue to cause any extra texture on the cover. So I'm just going to dab little dot here and there to keep my arrangement in place, and then I will be right back and show you what the next step will be. So I shall return. Okay, so not everything is glued down perfectly flat. Like I said, I just put just a few tiny dots, just enough to keep things in place until I can tape it down. This piece right here is actually not glued at all. And I'm just going to stick it here. So I've got 3 pieces of these, whatever these are. I don't know what these are called. And just a random arrangements, more thickness at the bottom, and then you got your height of the little weeds here at the top. And so I've cut several pieces of the foil tape into, I don't know, I'm just guesstimating like inch and a half strips or squares, and then I'm just gonna like take the corner and peel that up. And I guess I'll go ahead and start at the bottom, at the thickest part. So you're just going to want to tape, just put the tape over I'm going to overlap the edge a little bit. So we're just putting this foil tape over top of our arrangement. And I'm just using my fingers to flatten that down and keep it in place. And then I'll just continue this way, kind of overlapping the tape a little bit, because that's going to add a little more texture. So just carefully trying not to move your arrangement. And like I said, you can use anything with texture. for this, and I thought, you know, even like if you took dimensional paint, if you drew something on your cover and then like outlined it with dimensional paint, and then you could then put this tape over top, that would be cool. Sorry, I'm off camera here. So I'm just kind of like bending the corner a little bit to loosen that tape from the backing. We're trying to. And I'm going to just continue with this. Of course, the more steady I try to make my hands, the more shaky it gets. So, and just using my fingers to smooth that down. So I'm going to continue this way, in this manner, and then until I've completely covered the front cover with this foil, covered all of my leaves and everything, and then I will be back. Okay, so now I have the whole cover, front cover, covered in this foil tape. I see a little gap right there, so I'm going to just cut a little piece. And I apologize for the glare, but it is metal, so there's going to be a little bit of a glare. So now you can see that in order to get some more texture out, I'm going to take a Q-tip and rub, excuse me, and then just rub the Q-tip. And I'm using a Q-tip because I don't want it to mark the foil. It does mark. So now I'm using a Q-tip to kind of flatten that even more. And it looks like this is not working too well here. Okay, now I'm just pressing down with the Q-tip in between all of those veins and all of that texture to bring out even more texture. So now you can kind of see that leaf coming out even more here. And I don't want to smash the leaf down too flat. I want to get around the veins like really well, and then the outside of the leaves, because, you know, since the leaves are natural leaves, I don't want to smash the leaves to where it's flat and you get rid of that texture, that outline of the leaf. So as you can see, I'm just going around. I'm putting quite a bit of pressure around the outside edge of that leaf. And here I can see the outside edge of this stem here. And I'll put some more pressure where the tape kind of overlaps each other. And I'm going to continue to work this to get as much texture as I can. So here's a leaf. I can see the outline of this leaf here, so I want to work that really well around the outside edge. If you can focus on just this leaf here so you don't blind yourself with this glare. So I'm just going to work this in really well, and then I will be back and we'll go to the last step. Okay, so I ended up going over this some more with the end of a paintbrush. So this is a rounded wooden brush. You don't want anything sharp because you don't want to rip into your foil. But I seem to get a lot more detail just running this rounded end of this brush across more than I did the Q-tip. What it does, though, it does create marks on the foil. You can see, I don't know if you can see that, there's like little markings on the foil where I ran it across, but I'm fine with that. This may have turned out a little better with just one huge leaf with, you know, nice veining, but you know, I have a lot of layers here. It's still, I think it looks pretty neat, very organic. So just going and just running across lightly, not really hard, just kind of like just lightly just scraping across. I'm not even putting much pressure at all on this, on the handle of this brush, because I don't want to flatten what's underneath. And you could probably even use you know, faux flowers, faux leaves for this technique as well. I mean, you can use anything you want that has texture, obviously, but I can't stop doing this. This is very fun and very therapeutic. So I think it looks really cool. But the next step is to paint this so that we can see, you know, get some more of this texture out and, you know, give it a patina and let all of that paint go into all of these little grooves. So maybe you can see the leaves. You know, I have a lot of those layers of leaves here that I don't see a lot of that definition now, but otherwise I think it looks pretty cool, like a nice tree. So what I'm going to do, the next thing she did, Lori Marie, was take some black paint. So I've just got some black acrylic paint, and I'm just going to put it right on top of this, like this. And we're just going to quickly just cover this with the black paint. And I don't care about getting it on my spine or anything, because I'll figure out something else to do with that spine later, because we'll also do the back cover as well. I don't know if I'll do it in this technique or something different, but I'll also kind of follow along with Lori Marie. She's got several techniques for backgrounds for the inside of the book, for pockets, for so many things that are so cool and interactive stuff that I can't wait to get started. But I wanted to do my cover first, because she's actually started a new altered book, and she's just done the inside so far. Inside pages. I think there's 3 lessons so far for just the background technique only. And I'm just heading straight into the cover. So before this dries, we need to take a paper towel and rub off most of this paint. I may have put too much. So let me get some more. We want to get a lot of this paint off. So we have that patina, but we also have all of that black to define all those crevices. It's like I said, if you wanted to do your own artwork, I think it'd be a great idea to draw something and then take some 3-dimensional paint, outline your artwork, even string, you know, like or little wire, or anything that will you know, have some dimension to it. I think I took a little too much off this corner, but there you have it. So sorry for the glare, but my goodness, this looks really cool. So there's our altered book cover, and hopefully this photographs well enough. Here you can see those leaves, and then our little weeds at the top. So it kind of looks to me a lot like the top of a tree branch. Looks like old weathered metal. And I think add a little bit more paint in that corner. Try not to wipe too much of that off. I want some of that paint there, so I don't want it totally shiny in spots. And also I didn't have a lot of overlap from the edge, so you can see I folded over the metal tape a little bit, so there's some overlap there, but not a lot. And I wish you guys could see this in person because it looks so much nicer. And I think I just can't leave this alone. Not enough definition there. If I go over it again, just kind of do that. But how cool is that, guys? So there's one of her techniques for an altered book, and I like it. And let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this, and if you haven't subscribed already, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you again next time with something new. Bye bye, guys.